Well, salutations, everybody. Another day and another go at this. Back in to the FM save with one of the biggest matches of my season. One of the two league-wide rivals. Quarter-final match versus Atletico Madrid. The main goalkeeper out injured. A team that has been on fire in terms of its last progression. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 games straight on the bounce of nothing but victories. It has been eons since our last loss, but that means we have to be more careful not to be complacent. Senor Duck, what's a crack-a-lackin'? How is your Wednesday doing? Senor Skull, what's the sauce with your Wednesday, my friend? Is all going good? Is all going grand? And Senor Halo, it is a pleasure to have you back in, my friend. How are things going? I mean, Ard Guller is a good player. It's not that surprising to see him be brought on. In defense is a bit interesting, but hey, maybe they're morphing the formation, but we'll see. But time will tell how things end up going. Today has been a day full of interesting natures and surprising situations. We've seen City play in a 2-0 match against Casablanca, where whether or not they're trying to keep him fit or what the situation was, Haaland didn't start. If Marmoush is going to be a striker, I think City are going to have plenty of problems. We've seen the first of Real Madrid's formations, and yes, Al Hilal aren't a bad team, to be fair, but at the same point in time, this is Real Madrid. They should be doing far better than this. We have officially heard the siren call on the potentiality of Ruben Amorim's career at the start process for what his first few games are going to be, because god damn, those first 5 games are the march of the siren call to the sack, in my opinion. And I am live again with a different pair of glasses, so everything is different today. Captain, my friend, what's a crack-a-lackin'? How are you doing? Is life treating you good? Is life treating you grand? How was the stream earlier on? I didn't get a chance to come in and say hello to it. I have to say, I love the multicolored emote. It's a gorgeous little addition. The boat ended up going like that. Is that any particular boat or just a random one you ended up plucking out? Upon first reflection, it looks a little bit like the Black Widow, but I couldn't exactly tell you which one it is. So, as you can see here, so far we've done well this season. We have 2 draws, 1 loss, but we're going into currently our second, if not biggest, game of the season. We've managed to beat Atletico Madrid once already in a cup final, and we've managed to beat Barcelona already in a cup final. But now we're going into a cup quarter-final in the secondary cup of Spanish football. That the cup that actually matters, the Spanish Cup over the Super Spanish Cup, because creativity has always been the name of Spanish. But we go into this game and we see how we do. Our main goalkeeper happens to be injured. But with that being said, we still have a fairly strong squad that we can end up implementing to our play. We are lucky in the fact that our secondary goalkeeper, Aaron, is one of the best that we can end up having to do it. We have an incredibly strong back line. All okay. Yeah, Seller probably should be replaced because his tiredness is hitting a bit, but everyone seems to be in good formation. So we're going to go with this particular squad here and see how it ends up doing. Not too bad. Well, if you're talking to Beauty in the future, Captain, turn around and say, I send my warm regards. The Beauty has followed their name and met the divine. Into February of the 2nd season with Palace on my Eternal Mids Challenge save. And how has it been going? Duck, have you managed to keep them mid-season? Have you managed to keep them bordering on mediocreness that you went for, that your aim was for, that your goal was for? How has that been going for you, my friend? Anyway, we end up going into this match now and we see how things end up going. This is a case now where we all need to cross our arms a bit. For these type of big matches, we go back to a cautious mentality as opposed to an attacking one. We watch the competition before the competition comes and strikes upon us. So, there's no point putting the delay. We will go into this now and see how things end up working. If things end up needing it, we will change to attacking as time ends up going on. So we'll start as we have done in all of the 3 other games where we've been victorious, and go with a cautious mentality before adapting to the attacking. There's no point breaking a broken system at this particular moment in time. So we'll just go with this and see how things end up going. Jurgen Klopp is the Atletico Madrid manager. They have a fairly strong team now. So we'll see how this... I am soon to be victorious, Skull. So it doesn't particularly matter what I am. I am correct and I am right. At the end of this match, I will be the victor. And that's all that matters. Came 12th last season. Well, congratulations on that. A pleasure to end up here in Duck. And was 12th the goal you were going for? Or were you aiming for a 10th place finish? Something akin to that? Anyway, this is their particular starting lineup, a strong lineup now. Although interesting that they have Morata, an interesting player, but in terms of some of the elements they end up having, I think they have better that they can end up putting there. Isn't it? It's literally halfway. That's literally the middest of the table, Duck. Between 10th and 13th is mid-table for me. Maybe that's me being a bit overblown on expectations, but that would be the case for me. Anyway, and the one change that we make to this, because for these type of big competitions, we watch the full match. We don't get to end up having our usual display of stats that end up helping us figure out what's going on. So their goalkeeper, Unai Simons, one of the best in the world. We see how they end up doing. This could be very much a football game of baseball where things end up going back and forth. A game that would be exciting to watch, unlike some of the games that have been going on at the Club World Cup. I have to say, I was surprised to see that Inter Milan ended up drawing their particular game earlier on today. With the offensive capabilities they have, you'd expect them to do slightly better, wouldn't you? But I mean, players are still warming up. I think that's the unfortunate thing about it. I think that's the other unfortunate thing when it comes down to United. Us having those 3 big matches at the start of the season, people will turn around and say, why is it a problem? Sure, you need to face them at one point in time anyway. You need to face them twice during the season anyway. What's the problem with facing Arsenal at the start, City on the 4th game, and Chelsea on the 5th? Well, the problem is you mightn't have revved up the gears properly yet. You mightn't have gone into full cylinders. You might still be lagging behind. And United have a notoriously slow starting engine when it comes down to football and the season. That's why it's normally good for us when we end up getting at least 3 games of what should be bottom half teams. But you go with what you have and you see how things end up going. 8th to 12th mid-table for me. The games treat 10th as top half, so I don't want that. As would increase next season's expectations, and we overachieve. Fair enough, that's understandable. I think that's kind of the point. I think if in those first 5 games he loses the 3 that people would suspect he loses, which is Arsenal and City and Chelsea. If he loses the 3 of them, I think he's screwed. To be honest. But time will tell how that ends up going. Okay, so in this first 5 minutes, we have been the more aggressive of the two teams, even in the cautious mentality, but we're still lacking that cutting edge. We're still a bit too temperate in the way that we're going. We don't look like we're going to score. We're doing a bit sloppy in the passes. The first goal matters a lot in this particular game. It, for us, revs the engines up a good bit. We're a team that our engines are always revving, thankfully. But at the same point in time, it only takes one mistake for Atletico Madrid to become monsters that they are capable of being. Atletico Madrid have the capability to end up scoring nigh on 10 goals against some teams. They mightn't look as strong as they have on other seasons, but they are still a phenomenally strong team, and we need to be careful of it. You forget, though, United are bottom half team. Well, congratulations for the first troll of the chat. Allow me to turn around and say to you, as all should say to you, and that is, my friend, my friend, my friend. We seem to play decent against top teams, but are less than good against teams we should beat. I mean, well, that's because the system ends up working. But it's a matter of if he gets enough players in time. I still think we'll see what ends up happening. Barata needs to shut up and just end up making the signings. Now, to be fair, the window is officially just opened there, so we'll see what ends up happening now. Hopefully the Brian and Buemo deal is done soon enough, if that is the deal that we're doing, and we can go on and get some more stuff. No, it's an opinion. He's allowed to have an opinion. It's wrong, but he's allowed to have an opinion. I mean, statistically, because of last season, we are a below mid-table team. But to be fair, that's a one and done, and you know, things change. If it happens again next season, then it becomes a far more factual statement. Anomalies are a thing. Sure, Liverpool at one point in time were outside of the top 8. Does that mean that they're not a top 4 challenging team? They came the next season and ended up challenging. So, you know, it depends on how things end up going. Time is a fabulous thing, and we'll see what ends up happening with it. Okay, so in these 12 minutes now, I don't think we've performed good. In fact, I think both teams have performed bad. But we have to keep it up now and see how things end up going. They're exploiting us a bit more off of the left-hand side than I'd like. What do you mean it's not an opinion? It literally is an opinion. We finished mid-table last season. So, as a result of which, technically speaking, we're a mid-table team. Like, we finished 16th last season, so it literally is a factual statement. So, we'll see what ends up happening. Whether or not it's a statement that you should agree with, whether or not it's a statement that will hold any weight come December of next season is when it matters. Still bottom half of the table, Skull. Ooh, I think there might be a goal coming here for Atletico. Ooh, no, thankfully. All I know is, legit, in my opinion, if Ruben comes out of those first 5 games with anything more than 3 losses, if he has 3 losses, I think he should get sacked. It's that mean. He has to win at least one of those 3 games and win the other 2. If he comes out of that game with anything more, like if he loses to all 3 of those teams, I think he has to get sacked. Unfortunately. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. In my opinion, I think you have to end up doing it there and then. But we'll see. Time will tell. I think it's that strict on him if you want to end up having the goal that they end up having of winning the Premier League title by 2028. I also think that if it ends up happening, Barada should be sacked as well, but that's an entirely different kettle of fish. Okay, thankfully their offensive units are just in the wrong positions at all times, and as a result of which our defensive situation hasn't needed to be too worried. All of their corners, all of their crosses have been just that little bit sluggish, have been that little bit off. Like that. No one there with Samu in order to end up doing it. Easy goal for them if anyone was there, but just no one there. But I mean, in the same point in time, the same is happening for us. We're not having any particular great success in our attacks. Ooh, that was chancy now. Nice attempt for them, but that should have been checked again. Could have been a potential penalty. I mean, it's my opinion. I legitimately think he has 6 games. I think he has 6 games at the start of the season. If he performs those 6 games bad, I think he ends up getting the sack. Or, if they don't, I don't think the club is serious. I think if at the end of the 6 games he has anything more than 2 losses, I think he deserves the sack. And yes, I know that means we're going up against City, Arsenal, and Chelsea, and you need to win against at least one of them. I think you can't get away with losing to all 3 of the top 6 teams. I don't think you can get away with it. I think if he ends up doing that, he should be sacked. What's worse is Liverpool comes soon after that as well, so there's no break for United until almost mid-December period, so it's going to be all hands on deck until then. Holy crap, Guller, what a goal. We needed to break through in this match. This was a sluggish performance by both teams. A moment of brilliance, Vinny picking up the ball, Ard Guller nicking it off of Vinny. You ain't doing it, so I will. Off of the bad foot too, Vinny just ends up knocking the ball directly in, and time will tell. That's your opinion, Skull. I just have mine. I genuinely think if in the first 6 games he doesn't end up having a good performance, he should end up getting the sack. He should end up getting the sack. Because it's obvious that it hasn't worked out. Did you hear what I said? If he ends up losing those matches, he deserves to end up getting the sack. I never mentioned anything about a draw. A draw is an entirely different contextual point of view. If in the first 6 games we walk away with 12 points, fine, I'm happy with that. I think the absolute minimum buffer for us is if in 6 games we have to have at least 10 points. If we don't have at least 10 points, I think he deserves to get the sack. In my opinion. Oh, sorry, that was Duck, not Skull. My apologies. I'm telling you now, Liverpool won't be top 4. They're going to play 4 at the back and really going... You're just wrong on that, but fair enough. You're just dead wrong on that, but fair enough. Frimpong is far better as a defensive player than people end up putting him down for. I completely missed that second goal. I'm going to have to look at that second goal afterwards. No, I didn't say if any manager loses 3 games to get sacked. I said if the United manager loses the first 3 games in this particular season, when he comes in, he gets the sack. Because he doesn't have any... He doesn't have any cushion. He doesn't have any buyback. He doesn't have any leverage. If he loses 3 of the first 6 games because of the season he had last season, he deserves to get the sack. Simple as. Simple as. Scottish, my friend. What's a crack-a-lackin' with you? How are things going? We are in the middle of our quarter-final match, 2-0 up against Atletico Madrid. We're performing good. Not great, but good. We're kept at it. We have our foot to their neck at the moment. A couple of inconsistencies, but we end up seeing what ends up happening. We were having a bit of discussion there. United, the debt toll has already been sung has already started to ring for Ruben Amorim, in my opinion, because of the first 6 games that we end up having. Arsenal, Fulham, I can't remember what the third one is, Manchester City and Chelsea. I stated that in those first 6 games, if Ruben doesn't end up getting at least the maximum he can have is 2 losses in those first 6 games. And even at that, I still think that's bad. But if he doesn't walk away with at least 10 points there based on last season, he deserves to get the sack. So I think the toll has already started to ring on him, in my opinion. Because United don't have the cachet to continue on with the way that things are. I don't think it's the same with every manager, to be honest. You can't say that about West Ham. But we'll see how things end up going. You can think that if you want to. I don't. I think what ended up happening was towards the end of Ten Hag's tenure with the club, an awful lot of players started to end up having problems with each other. I think Alejandro Garnacho legitimately has a problem with Erasmus Højlund. I think Onana legitimately had a problem at one point in time with De Ligt and Victor Lindelof. And in my particular opinion, as a result of which, I think because of the divisions within the players, it became players fighting for themselves instead of a team fighting together. Now, has Amorim fixed that? Who knows? Who knows? We'll know that when it comes down to... we'll know that when God damn it, give us a second. As Amorim fixed that, we'll see. I think he needs to. He needs to make us back into a team. We need to trust our striker no matter who it is. If we sign a new one, they need to pass to the striker. If we don't sign a new one, they need to pass to fucking Rasmus. And not have Rasmus try to be running through the ball, try and run through the network in order to get the goddamn ball. He's been in the wrong position because he's had to make his own passing lanes, in my opinion. But we'll see what ends up happening. But with all that being said, Scottish, how has your day been treating you? Have you gotten up to much on your Wednesday now today? Of course you can, but you can't lose 3 games out of the first 6 and expect that you're not going to lose more games at that particular point in time. The max amount of goals you have to lose and realistically get top 4 is 6 games. That means that in 6 games out of 38 games, you have lost half of the allocated amount of games you're allowed to lose. So that's my point of view. We should be aiming for top 4. That should be what we're aiming for. That should be what United end up going for. Anything lower than top 4 is unacceptable in terms of our credentials. Yes, you want players that are aiming for the title. That isn't feasible with the team that we have. It's more than feasible to be top 4. That's what they should be aiming for. So, with that being said, as a result of which, losing 3 games in 6 means you've lost half your allocated amount of games. You don't have any tenure in your positioning because you didn't win anything last season. This would be entirely different if you had won the Europa League final, but you didn't. You didn't win any cups. So as a result of which, you have nothing to hold leverage to yourself. I think you deserve the sack. Is that harsh? Probably, but that's my opinion. But the window hasn't finished. So, we'll see what other improvements are ended up being made. We'll see whether Diego Leon will end up starting playing a couple of games. We'll see whether or not Matthias Cunha can be the revolutionary point of view that we end up needing. We'll see whether or not maybe these are players that have performed good as the focal points, but now that they're coming into a team and aren't the actual focal point, maybe they underperform. All of this is stuff that we'll end up seeing. Yes, if everyone else performs absolutely crap, but the average is 6. If everyone performs absolutely crap, the average is 6. 6 losses and 6 draws to get top 4, I think. I think it's that. You can if everyone performs bad, but you also don't want to be in that situation. 6 is the number you end up wanting to go for, 6 losses. As far as I remember it. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but as far as I remember, 6 is the number you aim for. If you go over 6 losses, that's where you're in your problem. But again, time will tell. We'll see how things end up going. Maybe Arsenal haven't returned back with full power, and they end up starting slow in the Premier League, and we end up getting a jump on them. I've never seen United jumpstart anyone, but we'll see what ends up happening. And last time we got top 4, everyone else was crap. Last time we got top 4, Liverpool and Chelsea weren't in the conversation. Last time we got top 4, I think the bottom team that got relegated at something like 24 points. So, like, they actually performed. Expect a situation like this season where we're going to have a team that ends up having anywhere between 9 and 15 points when they end up getting promoted. Like, it's an entirely different league this time. People are investing, people are sound. I expect wallops of what's going to end up happening. But we'll see what ends up happening. It's my opinion. That's my opinion. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I'm not changing it. I stick to it. If in the first 6 games we lose 3 of those 6 games, he deserves to get the sack. Henrik now running the world. No one there to help him. Minu, my friend, what's a crack-a-lackin'? Yeah, but ye also had the invincible season where you had something like 15 draws, wasn't it? Like, draws are entirely different kettle of fish. Like, draws kill championship runs because you don't see the 2 points dwindle really, really quickly. I'm just saying in terms of United's goal is top 4. We're not a good enough team not to think that if we lose 3 of the first 6 games that we're not going to end up losing more. I think if in United's case, what happened there, Vinny? If we lose more than 3 of the first 6 games, that's the death nail. And unfortunately, I said that before the fixture list was announced. So we'll see what ends up happening. If we draw all 3 of those games, that's an entirely different thing as well. If we walk away with 10 points, then that'd be fine. But we'll see, you know? Yeah. You know, draws an entirely different kettle of fish. Anyway, we've been performing fairly good there. Like, I'll give an example here. Because I believe the Premiership is bad this year. Okay, so you can see here the Premiership is bad this season. Okay, they're 23 games in. They've 8 draws, 9 draws, 7 draws, 3 losses, 4 losses, 4 losses. That's giving you the buffer for draws. But that's a bad season. This is a bad season. As you can see, already, this is a bad season. So you're right, Skull, in that losses can end up mattering more. You can have your 9 losses if you can avoid the draws. The thing is, we should be aiming more for draws than we should be for losses, because at least it builds momentum. I argue that, but at least it builds momentum. Like you can see here, this United squad has 8 losses and is in the top 5. So fair play to them, they're doing sound. But at the end of the day, that's also not a situation you want to end up having, you know? I say that and then the fucking advertisements are on. Never mind. Wait a minute. Tit. Okay, I should be back now. Hopefully the bugginess has stopped itself. Nope. So unfortunately, my internet is completely tits up. So we'll see how things end up happening. If it continues at this, I'll finish after this match and I'll come back another day because I'm not dealing with this crap again today. But we'll see how things end up going. Let me know if it continues to end up bugging properly. I am getting some drop frames, but hopefully it contains itself now that we've ended up fixing something. But anyway, we'll see what ends up happening. At the end of the day, that's just my opinion anyway. That for us, we don't have the luxury of allowing losses to end up going down. It doesn't even matter if you can end up having 9 losses or anything of that akin. We don't have the luxury of allowing that, as with the way that we've been performing. Fair enough, and that's your opinion. I don't hold that same opinion. I think we need to end up having. I think with the way we've been performing in the last year, after at least with Ten Hag, we had won stuff. But I think we don't have that luxury. I think we have to be on a winning formation. Honestly, I was saying there, Minu, I think he has 6 games. I think he has 6 games. After 6 games, we'll know whether or not he's there for the rest of the season. If we lose 3 of those big first 6 games, if we lose all 3 of those first 6 games, I think he'll be gone. Although at the moment with the fixture list that we end up having, I think he'll be gone before October. So, like, we have Arsenal, which you can't expect to win from, but we need a win from. Then you have Fulham, which we need a win from, but you can't expect to win from. Then you have Burnley, which we must win. Then you have Manchester City, at City, which you definitely can't expect to win from, but we need to end up having a win from. You have Chelsea, who at that point in time will end up having their gears running. So ironically, it would have been better to have Chelsea earlier. Then we have Brentford, who we need to end up getting a win from, and depending on how ravaged Brentford are, that'll make a difference. Then you have Sunderland, who you need to win, and then you have Liverpool. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. In our first 10 games, there are 5 matches that we currently, with the team that we are, will probably end up losing. Because we have Tottenham as our 10th match, we have Liverpool as our 7th match, we have City as our 4th match, we have Chelsea as our 5th match, Arsenal as our 1st match. At the end of those 10 games, it is well and truly plausible that we're at more than 5 losses down. I don't think he's going to get away with it. I think if he loses against Arsenal, Man City and Chelsea, he'll get the sack. I think if he loses any of the games in between, if he even draws to Fulham and Burnley, he'll be sacked before he gets to the Chelsea game. If we have lost to Arsenal and City. If we lose to Arsenal and we lose to City and we draw either Fulham or Burnley, I think he'll get the sack. I think it's that bad. I think it's that bad that we need to have that good of a start. I think we need to have that good of a start. But we'll see. Yeah, and then you look at Chelsea and you look at Man City, who are in the Club World Cup and seem to have gotten really, really soft. If you were a conspiracy theorist, you'd assume that the Premier League done a favour for FIFA. Yeah, you'd assume it anyway. Now, I am of the opinion that if Pep's idea is to use Omar Marmoush as Julian Alvarez, I think that's going to come back and bite Pep severely in the arse. I think if Omar Marmoush is used as a striker the same way that Julian Alvarez was as the replacement for Haaland when Haaland isn't 100% fit to go, I think that's going to bite him intensely in the arse. So I don't think City are finished signing yet. And the other thing with City is City have signed so many players, we'll see what ends up working with them. Cherki should be an okay version for them. Is Tijani Reanders their replacement for Rodri? Because if he is, I like that player. He ain't no bloody Rodri. So we'll see what ends up happening there. I think that City side is going to be weaker than people assume. Still top four material, but I don't think they're going to be. I don't think they're going to be fighting for the championship as strongly as they would be. It really depends on how weak Arsenal and Liverpool come out the door, and Chelsea. How weak Arsenal, Chelsea, and Liverpool come out the door, whether or not City look like they're competing in the first half. City will get their gears up and running, don't get me wrong, but I have a feeling they're going to take a while to rev up this season. I'm still of the opinion you spend all your money and you get Julian Nagelsmann, but at this point in time, I would have honestly I would have sacked him and brought in Antonio Conte out of Napoli. Gave Napoli whatever money they needed and just turn around and give Conte everything we can do. He's just a serial winner now. To go into Napoli and after one season make them the goddamn Serie A champions, just go and nick him. I don't care anymore. I'm not a fan of Conte. But at the same point in time, we need is serial winners, especially while we still have winning in our blood. Like, United are shite, but we are still winners. You know, we are still winners. We've won the FA Cup, we've won the Carabao Cup. You know, we are still winners. Funnily enough, for as crap as we are, we should have won the Europa League, but we didn't. You know, so we need a serial winner. But we'll see what ends up happening. At the end of the day, boards. He said to the board, "You won't be sacked next season." Yeah, and I said that I won't I said that I won't end up drinking at any point this year. The board won't give a shite if he performs bad at the start of that season. He won't make it. He won't make it to October if he's performing particularly bad. They'll do it. They signed Dan Ashworth and said that he was there for the long haul. Fired him after 5 months. That board doesn't give a rat's diddly ass. If you're performing bad, you'll get sacked. Nobody is safe on that in that United aura sphere. Absolutely no one. Which is the right way to end up doing. You need to back your manager, but like nobody is safe. The striker regen I told you about was dominating everything for my Liverpool squad. Won the Ballon d'Or at 18. Well, congratulations to hear about that, Halo. How much is he worth at the moment? If he won the Ballon d'Or, I'd assume that his transfer value is probably bumped up to around 200 million, has it? Although the game does have a nasty habit of never doing that for your players. Just scored 6 goals in one game for England at 19 and didn't get player of the match. How does that happen? What was the other players around that he didn't get man of the match for that? Conte is the best out there at the moment, to be fair. I actually think the best out there at the moment is Julian Nagelsmann for Germany. He's still career-wise hasn't gone below 70% win percentage anywhere that he's been. Anywhere that he's been. He's never had a managerial job where he's gone below 70%. Now, United would ruin him on that, but at the same point in time, that's where I'd end up thinking, by the way, this was a horrible goal to let in. Well on Florian Wirtz, but Aaron should have done a far better job trying to defend that. But at the moment, of the people that are potentially there, I think Conte would be the best one. United, I keep mentioning this. United aren't as bad off financially as people end up thinking. We're at 175 million in the PRSI or the PRSR standings. We're the 5th best financial club in the Premier League at the moment. Yeah, we're crippled with debt, but no one gives a crap about the debt, and the Premier League doesn't give a crap about the debt. And we got special disconceptions for some of our losses around there. No one gives a crap. So United can afford to sack him. They just don't want to sack him. And of course they're going to end up lying about their money situation. They don't want to end up being charged the United tax that we're always charged. He got 6 goals, 2 assists. Saka got man of the match with 7 goals and 1 assist. But the underlying stats might have told you more than that, Halo. Anyone that's on a 10-10 can end up getting it. Saka might have had more key passes, more actual influence under the game without you knowing about it, but it does seem an awful lot of horse manure, to be honest. You're right. If we could afford, we would pay 62 million upfront to Wolves and would sign by now if we have money. You're being facetious, and you know you're being facetious. Like, we don't have that type of money. We don't have transfer money, but the club has money. Like, the money that we'd end up using to end up sacking Ruben Amorim isn't going to be used within the transfer money and can be deductible down through other tax means. So the fine that it would cost of the 10 million quid to get rid of Ruben Amorim would end up being deducted down a colossal amount. We ended up spending 14 million quid to sack Ten Hag. That 14 million quid won't go down as a 14 million... Fuck me. As a 14 million quid loss. It won't be that bad. The club has money. It has money. We also just don't want to be spending massive sums of money on players. So we have to go different ways about it. We could spend the 62 million quid on Cunha. We have it there to spend, but we don't want to spend 62 million quid, and we're right not to if we can get away with it. And you know that we do, that we can. That's the reason why we're going for Mbeumo. We're trying to end up buying multiple players worth 60 million quid. If you end up spending 60 million quid straight up front, then you can't afford them, the other players there. And you know that. Every club is operating in the Premier League is operating at about 100 million quid. Oh God, they almost scored. You have to be careful now. I don't know. I don't know, to be honest. There's an awful lot of crap being said about that deal. So we'll see what ends up happening. If it's done, it's done. If it isn't, it isn't. We'll see what ends up happening. I'm good, thanks. Didn't say so prior. Well, it's a pleasure to hear that you're good, Duck. It's always nice to hear when the viewers are in good form. In general, I think it's nice to end up hearing it. It ends up bringing a spark to this cold, dead heart of mine. Then the club has no money. We are in installments due. We can't pay it. What? I don't know what you mean by that. If the club can afford it at once, we would have it. I don't know what you mean about that. There isn't a club in world football that's paying people not in installments. There isn't a club in world football that isn't doing it. There's very, very few clubs that are paying people straight up in installments. Chelsea spent 110 million quid on Moise Caicedo. They didn't give 110 million quid in one lump sum. They done it over multiple years of installments. The Florian Wirtz deal is being done in installments. The Frimpong deal is €8 million up front with 5-year installments to get to 30. Nobody is paying for anyone up front. You know? So I don't know what you're trying to say, but to me it just sounds like a crock of horse manure. Being honest, not trying to be mean, but I'm just being honest. Imagine we buy Isak now too. What a window that would be. I doubt. To be honest, here's the question: why? And this is the same thing when people turned around and said United should have signed Kane when Kane went to Bayern Munich. You know, it's 100% sound.
Tottenham were never selling to a Premier League club. Why? Why would Newcastle sell to a Premier League squad? I'm not in the mood for it. I'm refunding you and I'm changing it back.
If you refund it, Duck, I'm just not in the mood for it today. Sorry about that. I'm just not in the mood for listening to it today. I would assume it's probably going to be Bellingham, but who knows? We'll see. Oh no, it was for Valverde, and he missed it too. Typical. I wouldn't mind, but Valverde's a good player. I mean, if it's still true that Rodrigo was meant to be leaving Barcelona, I'd go in and try and get him. Very few clubs spend money anyway. They borrow money and then owe it back over years. Yeah, and United, and I keep saying this, United makes so much money that we're not near as bad of a situation as people say that we are. Like, I think we make something like 500 million a year. We just, because of our loan situation, which we could pay back, we just don't pay back. We're worse off than we think. What do you mean they don't use installments? Liverpool have literally used installments for all 4 of their transfers this season. Every single one of their transfers this season, they're using installments. And like, so are City. City have done it for Ryan Cherky. Like, did the sub Vinny off? Yeah, Victor Munoz, interesting. Lucas Vazquez on for Trent too. It's looking like this game is going to end as a draw, which is a surprising result, to be honest. We are not performing good now. This could end up going to extra time. Considering we were 2-0 up, this is a horrible, horrible situation to be in. Just deplorable. Horrible passing there. Unai Simons down there to Justin Alexander. I think this is their goal. Oh, nice defensive work there. Still think they're scoring off of this play. Oh, nice work by Seller. Ibrahim Kanate from formerly of Liverpool. Florian Wirtz now. I will say one player that I've always liked the look of. I knew it. I bloody knew it. I bloody knew after this play it was coming. Was Marco Leandro. I always thought he was a good player. Like, obviously, at 22 years of age, going to the Saudi League doesn't look that particularly good for you, but you need to develop wherever you can. So, if he's getting any development out there, fair play to him. But I always liked the look of him. Henrik. Just, what was that pass? Come on. We're ultra attacking now. We need something. Oh, Unai Simon's becoming bloody Midas himself is bloody brilliant, isn't it? Not shocking at all that their goalkeeper suddenly for the last end of this game becomes Midas himself. What the hell? Okay. Franco down there. Useless sacks of shite. You genuine useless sacks of shite. Give us a penalty or something, or score the goddamn goal. What? Oh, come on. How open that fucking goal was. Why'd you go for that corner? I don't know what it is, Skull. I haven't read it, so I haven't a clue what it is. The time-wasting rule. Who was that to, Franco? Who was that to, Franco? Who was that to? Or not Skull. Black. Sorry. Halo. I mean, funny that, but isn't it Barcelona that end up doing the paying off the refs? Does Real Madrid do it as well? Interesting. I didn't know about that now, to be honest. Never like it matters. Can we score 2 goals in 1 minute? Yeah, we've done it before. Will we score 2 goals in 1 minute? No, we bloody won't. Nice, Samurai. Like, come on. Simon's literally just become goddamn Midas at the end of this goddamn game. What the hell? How is he and then the striker ends up getting injured because of fucking course he did. With no subs either, so just whatever, fuck off. Just blow the whistle. We've no striker anyway, so it doesn't matter. Just blow the goddamn whistle. Well, that ruins the goal that we wanted this season, which was back-to-back Spanish Cup winners. What can you do? Stuff ends up happening. Our goal is still the La Liga and the La Liga and the Champions League at this point. Fair play to you. Fair play to you. Go in and storm out because I can't be arsed. Anyway, this is one of those cases where I wish there was a way you could end up fining every player on the pitch. Genuinely. No, you've done it 3 other times. You've done it during both of the draws, and you've done it during the loss as well. So you do it any time anything ends up going wrong. Yeah, so Real Madrid is after finishing their 1-1. Interesting. But, yeah, it's fantastic that it's interesting that that's a thing that they've been caught for doing it that much. Kind of surprising, genuinely, to be honest, that that's been confirmed. I knew that there was rumors that they'd ended up getting caught for the referee balancing, but I never actually knew that it was confirmed that it ended up happening in both of the cup and in the actual league itself. Anyway, on we go now and we'll continue for a bit. So, interesting. So our 21-year-old is after leaving his agent. That's surprising now. Pixel, my friend, thank you so much for the raid. I genuinely appreciate it. It's brilliant to end up having you. How has your stream ended up going, my friend? Was it all good? Was it all grand? Was it all delicious? And on top of that, how was your Friday? You came in after an unfortunate circumstance. We got knocked out of the Spanish Cup in horrible fashion, but we continue on with what we're at for now. Only our second loss of the season. Incredibly disappointing. One, we were 2-0 up, but you do what you can, and you continue on with what you have. Up, it's a pleasure to have you back. My next Champions League game is 4 games down the line. We don't know who we have yet, but we've gotten through to the actual elements of the Champions League where we need to be. So we're not doing too bad there, so we're just going to continue on with it for the moment. But, what type of rematches were you doing, Pixel? How did it end up going for you, the stream? Anyway, was it all good? Was it all grand? Like, how is that game? Because it's basically formatted like Rocket League, but actual players, isn't it? Actually, I'll say all of this again after the advertisement, because he probably can't hear me, much to my chagrin. No bother, Pixel. Enjoy the food. I hope that it is absolutely scrum-diddly-umptious, my friend. And again, thank you so much for the raid. I mean, to be honest, why would they? Skull, why would they care about the Club World Cup? There's very little benefit for them. It's a bit of a shill competition, to be honest. But at the end of the day, it's something. And if you're playing at all, you should end up caring, but it's understandable why they mightn't. It's quite hard to care about games when you're playing as many as they are. And they're playing tons of matches, unfortunately, consistently. Had a good stream today, doing some Siege, got up a rank, had some fun moments, happy out on that one. Did you get as many clips on it today as you did the last time? Too many games. Is that too many games from Rematch, or just too many games in general up? By the way, how are you finding Rematch? Because I haven't played it, and I haven't watched anyone play it yet. But to me, it just, as I was saying there during the advertisement, so I'm not sure if any of it came true, it looks a bit like, Rocket League, but football. Oh yeah, no, there's far too many games for the footballers. But at the same point in time, they're paid enough money to need to go through them, which is the other problem. Yeah, that's what it seems like anyway. That's what it looks like. It looks fun, to be fair. But, I feel sorry for Rocket League. I think it's going to hurt some of Rocket League's appeal. Let me have a look and see how much it is here on Steam. I'll open up Steam here and have a look and see how much it is. $24.99. I love how there's a deal to get Shifu and Rematch. That's a peculiar deal. I'm guessing it's made by the same company, is it? Soul Calp made Shifu, and Rematch is made by Soul Calp. Yeah, that makes sense. Thankfully, I have Shifu in my library. Maybe that's something I'll play in the future. But it does look interesting, to be fair to it. When you have footballers getting paid $100,000 a week and there's a nurse getting paid $20,000 a year, but the nurse doesn't bring in £5 billion a year, Skull. That's the penny drop of it. The footballer gets $100,000 a week because the league brings in $5 billion a year.
Get your hand off my penis! This is the bloke who got me on the penis before.
They're getting paid enough to play every week of the year. I mean, yeah, but that's not fair in any situation either. I'm a contractor, so I should work every day of the year in order to get the most amount of money, but you still need your breaks. And they don't have any breaks, so you still need to function as a human, end up doing like that. That wasn't the point, and you know that wasn't the point. And importance rarely matters. In the immortal words of a horrible man, life's a bitch and then you die. If we cared enough about nurses, we'd end up giving more money towards them, but we don't care enough. They don't bring in an existential value to us in terms of entertainment. Entertainment is king, and you make most of your money off of entertainment if you can go into it. That's the reason why there's streamers here like Asmongold who can end up going live and end up making 100,000 quid a day on his streams. And yes, that man is making 100,000 quid a day streaming. You know? So, you know, life is very, very rarely fair. Asmongold. He's making at least 100,000 quid a day. Especially now that he's gone on to Kick as well. 3-week break like everyone else. They're not even getting a 3-week break, Skull. That's the problem. Because they're still training on their break. They don't get a 3-week break. Did research, and women footballers earn about 70% of what they create. Yeah, but like that's an entirely different conversation. Like, there does need to be a base salary percentage for women's footballers. Like, the stat that was made is during the World Cup last year in when was it the World Cup? Was it 2023? 2024? When was the last World Cup? Let me check it. 2022. So in the World Cup 2022, the men's World Cup made $4 billion US dollars. Made $4 billion US dollars. The women's World Cup made 4 million. Made 4 million. That is quite a substantial difference. And the pot money wasn't changed according to the amount those ended up being created off of it. I understand why the women are annoyed at the fact that the men are getting paid such astronomical amounts of monies in comparison to them, because it is literally the same job, but you're not getting the same outcome. I could end up going into a bar here in my local vicinity and end up working within that bar there, and Bob's your uncle happy out, everyone is sound. But I shouldn't expect to be on the same salary or get the same elements of tips as someone working in a bar in the middle of London. You know, if I opened up a business here in the boom arse of North Ireland, Northwest Ireland, I can't expect to make the same amount of money as I would in Dublin. Context matters in all of these situations. And unfortunately in entertainment, attraction matters. That's why Ronda Rousey, when she was in the UFC, was one of the highest paid people in the UFC, because she was entertainment. It didn't matter that she was a woman, it mattered that she was entertainment. And that's what matters when it comes down to football as well. You make your brand of football entertaining enough that people end up being grand.
It's the hard knock life
everyone will be satisfied. It doesn't matter if they're as good up. It doesn't matter. Genuinely, quality has nothing to do with it. Quality has nothing to do with it. And the best example I can give to that is not to be mean to her. But, and I'll use 2 examples here so I don't appear as sexist. Gal Gadot can't act for crap. Gal Gadot ends up getting paid a crap ton of money to act because she ends up bringing in the dough and she ends up having a role. Arnold Schwarzenegger, a better example, can't act for crap. He's gotten better. He got better in the later of his career, but he can't act for crap. Ended up getting in a crap ton of money with the crap acting abilities because he had a personality about him. He had an aura, he had a draw. It doesn't matter. Talent means nothing if you have the draw in... But it isn't. If you bring in the money for football, you'll get paid in the big areas of football. If women's football was bringing in the same amount of money on the TV deals as men's football was, it wouldn't matter how good they were. It is not performance-based. Haaland there is one of the best players in the world, and as a result of which he'll end up getting paid a crap ton of money. But you'll end up having people there end up getting money for absolutely nothing just because they got lucky and ended up going into the right team. It's performance based in the fact that if you're in the top echelon of players, anyone that is playing in football is different, and sometimes it's luck. It's more about entertainment. If you go to United, you're going to get paid more than if you're with Brentford. You could be a far better player on Brentford. And Mbeumo is going to get 4x the amount of money playing for United, just on sponsor deals alone, than anything that ends up happening. Jamie Vardy spent all of those years at Leicester. If he went over to Arsenal, he would have made far more money. It doesn't matter about the performance. Like, there's context to be made in both situations, and yes, it matters a bit in this particular situation. Like, I use the Ronda Rousey point again. Ronda Rousey couldn't end up beating fucking Paddy the Baddy from Ireland. She couldn't do it. She couldn't do it. But Ronda Rousey made more money than Paddy the Baddy because she was entertaining. Just to use that as an example. Yeah, of course they should, because they make enough money to have better players. But that's the point. It's about luck. It's about where you go. It should be about performance, but it often isn't about performance. And it's the same thing with the other aspects of the industry. If you get me. Boston. We'll go and we'll give William a go. We'll give Adams a go. Ard Guller's whinging about not playing though, isn't he? Ard, where are you? Seriously, Ard Guller, where are you? Okay, you were gone. Okay, is Ard whinging about not playing? If so, yes, he's whinging about not playing, so we'll put you there and we'll put Marco up front and we'll go with this squad. Should I get the same wage as someone that won United? That's... What? There's a reason top players get paid top salaries. Luck, yes. Talent, also yes. I didn't say that talent didn't matter, but to turn around and say that it's all performance based is a lie. It isn't all performance based. It's majority luck. Yeah, but an awful lot of that matters on how much it ended up selling for as well as that skull. So, like, there's other elements that need to be taken into consideration when you're asking about that as well. So, like, a really famous stat that was said is during World War II, for the 5-7 years that World War II ended up going, women ended up playing football and had the 100,000 people going to the old Wembley, stepping outside to watch football. But that's because it was the only thing on the market there to end up watching, and they ended up performing grand. Footballers have become a lot different now than they were 10 years ago. There's a load of footballers that we ended up watching 20 years ago that we think were the best footballers in the world wouldn't end up being in the game today because of the way the game is today. So it all depends on the context of the situation that's in. Ironically, if you want your particular sport to end up making money, promote the living shite out of it and just make it more popular. People that end up spending to watch it. Why does the WWE end up making so much money when it's a fake sport? WWE makes so much money because it's a fake sport, because people enjoy watching it. People don't give a crap about the women versus the men's wrestling in WWE, even though that's a lie, they do. But people don't give a crap about it because wrestling is wrestling and wrestling is fun. If you can make your brand of sport more entertaining, no one cares about how good it is. Genuinely, no one cares about how good it is. Just make it seem like its own thing. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. That's just an opinion. Anyway, in we go now into this game. After the bad performance we had the last time, we'll see how we end up doing with this one. Hopefully we end up performing better, get a bounce back. You're certifiably insane, Skull. Or not Skull, Duck. You're certifiably insane trying that particular formation. But fair play to you. Let me know how it goes. And let me know how bad you lose in your first game. I haven't seen it, so I don't know what it looks like. Which one are you getting? The away one, the home one? So I can search up the jersey and let me see how it is. We couldn't do that in the game against Galácticos, even if it's offside. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Literally a reverse it's literally a reverse pyramid. Penalty check now. I wonder who's going to take the penalty for us. Ard Guller should be a goal. Very lucky by Ard. Why a halfback up? What makes you think a halfback would be better in that formation? The away jersey. Okay, let me look and see what it is. I don't like it. I mean, fair play to you, I don't like it. It looks too much like an Arsenal jersey to me. Looks far too much like an Arsenal jersey to me, as opposed to a Real Madrid jersey. That's my opinion anyway, but hey, if you like it, go for it. I don't like when your jersey ends up looking like someone else. Drop in and make a back three to give those two CBs at least some kind of a chance. I mean, it depends. It could potentially end up working. I couldn't even begin to imagine, Skull. What name are you putting on the back of it? Okay, I'm lost there, Duck. What do you mean by 88 fat, if you don't mind me asking? Tetchy with his first goal of the season. The joys when you go up against a weak team after a shambolic display. Makes you feel somewhat better how crap your team performed. Was Mbappe injured? Oh, he just has a fever. I wonder if that fever that Mbappe has is just him not wanting to play. I wonder if that Mbappe injury is Neymar's infamous injury when he ends up needing to play during his birthday. It's interesting to me that that Mbappe just randomly has a fever. Two fat ladies, idiot. Essentially a bingo call. Well, fair enough. Fair enough. That is a bingo call, to be fair to it. (4-0) up at half time. At least we're performing today. Boston. Hits it off of the bar. Back there to Martin. And they should have scored that. I will say, I've never considered doing it. But in the future, maybe I'll end up looking into goalkeeping. Oh, you know what? I'm not in the fucking mood for this. Genuinely not in the mood for it. I'm just ending the TikTok one. Cool. I'm having nothing but bloody issues today with the internet and a whole lot. Apologies. I think, unfortunately, due to consistent internet issues, and I need to end up doing something, I'm going to finish up after this match. Sorry about that, guys. I do like to go at least over the 2-hour period of time, but just an awful lot of things are going wrong today on the system and the whole lot. And that match blew the wind out of me, as annoying as it is. So I think I'm going to end up finish after this. No, just everything keeps dropping, unfortunately. Just I'm having streams drop, I'm having connection issues. Just an awful lot of problems, unfortunately. I forget which this one is. Like, there's a delay in the stream, there's a delay in everything. That is one of the best things the Team 4-Star have ever done, to be fair, that particular song. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm not feeling particularly great, so that doesn't help either, but, you know, you suck that up and you continue on. But, yeah, just, I look into what's causing the internet issues, off stream once I end up finishing up. On top of that, just so you know, I probably won't be streaming tomorrow. But there's a good chance I'll be streaming again on Friday. And I'm probably going to end up streaming Clear Obscure Expedition 33. If anyone has any interest in coming to end up seeing that. But for now, we'll just focus on this and continue to end up having the chat while we're at that. It's nice to see that the team can make a bounce back, at least. I know it's half of it is an entirely different team to what played against Atletico Madrid. But you go with what you have and you see how it goes. Edmund Adams should do a far better attempt at ending that shot. I wonder how RB Leipzig will end up doing today. Their squad has been announced as well. There today. I thought they had a much better team than that. It seems like a very bad team for Salzburg. Sorry, Salzburg. RB Salzburg, not Leipzig. Tit. I'll take Foston off for Gale. We'll put Eduardo on. We'll put Burke on, and we'll give Adama a go for the rest of the game. Let's see how that ends up going. And, like, to be fair, performing like this against Las Palmas is good to end up seeing. The team, at least, getting back into the grind of things after a dismal display is nice to end up happening. And Adama, the young 17-year-old, getting another goal for himself, consistently building himself up with nice gameplay in the background there. That's what you want to end up seeing when you have a young player come into the squad that ends up playing particularly good. Is it the rooftop pool at least? Duck. How is your Liverpool squad? Who's the manager? Because you're in your second season. Is it still Arnold Slot, or have they changed to a different manager at the moment? But I'll be crossing my fingers on my toes for you, my friend. It's bloody freezing again, isn't it? Yep. My dear Ducky Disciples. What a name. Ducky Disciples. Well, we had a good performance there. 27 shots, 11 on target, XG of 4.2 with a 5-0 win. That's what you end up wanting to end up having. Using updated database, not too bad. Pleasure to end up hearing. So is it Arnold that's their manager, or is it a different manager that they end up having? Does it give a different manager as their manager due to your updated database? I'll continue through all of this bits first until we get to the next match, and then I'll save and finish up. Due to the internet issues and everything else going on, so just bear with us now. Atletico Madrid there with a good result as well, to be fair to them. Nice to end up seeing it. We have a good buffer now against our closest competitor, Barcelona, there with 2 losses. Who did they lose to? Girona. Girona are doing well, and it's a pleasure to see. They've always had a bit of a nip at other teams. They've always nipped away at us, Atletico and Barcelona, as much as they can. But we'll just get through these bits now, and we'll end up finishing up. Wow, we have over 80 million. I mean, that's surprising as Palace, but I suppose you are in the Premier League where everything ends up being inflated in terms of its money. So, do you think you'll end up bothering to spend much of it, Duck? Or what? How do you think that's going to end up going for you? Like, in order to maintain mediocrity. Crap, that was a mistake. Mediocrity, how is that going to end up going? Oh, so you've moved from the Palace one. Which save are you on now? So which Palace save is this one? Like what type of save are you doing with this Palace save, if you don't mind me asking? Like, I have a special place in my heart for Palace, exclusively for the fact that I played with them in this particular save itself. I have no love for Palace in general, but, you know, still interesting to end up seeing. I am a bit surprised IRL that no one has went in for any of their players. Although I did hear a report there recently that IRL, supposedly they're looking for 80 million quid for Adam Wharton. I like Adam Wharton as a player, but I don't think he's proven himself enough to be warranted an 80 million price tag. What does anyone else think? Did they think that that he warrants an 80 million price tag? It seems a bit high for me now, to be honest. I mean, he's a good player. He fulfills the homegrown parameter that you end up needing, and I mean that's important for an awful lot of people. I fear that if you were to sign him now, he'll have the Evan Ferguson problem or the Troy Parria problem. I know both of them are strikers, but where they'll fail under the weight of their own intensity. I think that's a problem that an awful lot of players are facing at the moment. But yeah, it could be the English tax. I mean, it's needed for the English registrations. Unless you're smart enough to sign a player under the age of 18 and keep them in your academy for 3 years so that they end up fulfilling the registration requirement. Like Alejandro Garnacho counts as a homegrown player for us, which is one of the reasons why it would behoove the likes of Chelsea to go in and give a proper offer for Alejandro Garnacho from us if they wanted him, you know, because he counts as one of the registered players that you need to have for your homegrown nations. But yeah, he's an interesting player, to be fair to him. Okay, so that's me there. I'm going to do the usual stuff, and then I'm going to send you off for a raid. So, for the people on YouTube, thank you so much for coming. I'm going to finish up the save now. Hopefully next time my internet will be better. And there won't be as many pestering problems as we continue on. My apologies for the shorter than average stream. So, for all of you, make sure your crack is 90. I am, of course, this individual. You are the beautiful, the wise, and the scrum-diddly-umptious. And as always, Shlong Gafol and Pog Mahone.